Welcome to TMZ Live. There is something new that has surfaced in the Jeffrey Epstein case, not from Washington, D.C., but from a photo lab. And it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein playing a king with women around him, his pawns.
Yes, a chessboard, a really, I think we can all agree, knowing what we know now, twisted chessboard that was created in New York City. And we actually got these images. What you're looking at are the photos that Epstein took in order to create the chess pieces. He obviously would be the king on the board. That's why you see him sometimes in a white robe and sometimes in the black robe. And he had a bunch of other people who were involved in this project as well, other pieces on the board.
Women.
And they were women. And it is...
So they're basically all... the women come first into this Photoshop.
Right.
And they...
2016, they walk into the Photoshop.
And they take the individual pictures of these women. Jeffrey Epstein is not there when these photos are taken.
Right. And we should say that as far as the people at the store knew, all the women were of age. They were all over 18 and wanted these photos. They didn't come in with Epstein, but they did tell the people at the store there's going to be someone else coming. And then the following day is when Epstein came.
So Epstein shows up, and the photographer doesn't recognize him, doesn't know who he is,
yeah,
but
so we
finds the whole
2016,
thing.
Remember, when was it? 2006, when he'd been arrested in Florida. And that whole case went down, you know, of course, about the plea deal that he struck.
But it made news.
But just visually, people in the store didn't recognize him until they looked him up. And the reason they looked him up, I thought, was really interesting. It had to do with chess. Because remember, they're in there wanting chess pieces to create a board. And yet, Jeffrey Epstein apparently did not know how many chess pieces were on the board and made the guy who runs the store go like, does this guy actually know what's going on here?
So he Googles the guy, and then realizes
that must have been like an eyeful,
it's
right?
Like, that's who it is?
Right, and what you're saying is it looks like Epstein is not a huge chess fan. To your point, this was about a metaphor of power dynamics, not about playing chess necessarily. He positioned himself as the king. Most of the other players appear like they are pawns and inferior players on the board. These are not underage women, but they are pretty women. Right. Now, the queen, I haven't seen who the queen would be. You would think maybe Ghislaine, someone else with power in his orbit,
she's
but she's not involved. Exactly.
There.
So, but the power dynamics of the way he operated his life, even though they're not underage women, it's clear that he's the king, sort of moving chess pieces around, even though he doesn't know the game. So he just likes the power metaphor.
And again, this sort of points to what we were talking about when the birthday book came out, and when we saw those images, it's clear that there were so many people around him.
They knew.
Who knew the game, who knew what he was into.
And he saw himself this way. He sort of commissioned this himself.
And some of them clearly participated.
I think that is so right, and I think this aligns with it, that it's this guy who lords over these women, and he celebrates that. And when you look at that birthday book, because when I first saw the birthday book, I thought, oh, come on. I mean,
these are jokes or whatever.
They're jokes, whatever. Right. But when you see that there's a split of Jeffrey Epstein with little girls in 1983, and 20 years later in 2003, they're servicing him.
Right.
It's like they knew.
They illustrated grooming.
And he celebrated. Right. I mean, in 2016, he was celebrating.
And so while
8 years after he struck the plea deal.
When you look at that picture, the birthday book as you're talking about, it makes me think, yes, all the women who showed up at this photo shop for this chess project were of age, but were they of age when he met them?
Does it dovetail with the idea that he groomed them and these were the products of grooming? We don't know. We just know that they were of age according to this story, that they came in, they were in their 20s, so not really even close calls necessarily, but attractive women, and he wanted to sort of play them around on a chessboard. This was openly his personality, to your point. It's just not something that was in secret. If you knew him, this is how he operated and moved through the world.
So I want to ask people, we're streaming live on YouTube right now. I want to ask people, do you guys have issues with the people around him who seem to know for years what the game was. Are they in any way culpable, or are they just, hey, it's not my business? I want to know what people on YouTube think.
Hi, my name is Zach Ross, calling from Porterville, California. And I really think these chess pieces tell a story because it really plays into the narrative of him using girls to recruit other girls and also using Ghislaine to recruit. But the thing that really stood out to me was that there's a guy in there that's used several times. And it really makes me wonder, what role did that guy play? Or, what role does he represent?
Yeah, there's one guy who was dressed in black. We don't know which piece he ended up being. My guess is maybe he's the bishop. But regardless, it's clear that everyone involved knew what Jeffrey Epstein was about on this project.
Jackson, what are people saying?
Yes, if you're around someone that murdered someone, you would be as guilty as them. They're culpable for sure. We just dropped a poll as well. Were people orbiting Epstein morally culpable in his actions?
By the way, we should say they ended up ordering 34 pieces, so there's a couple of extras, I guess, and cost $5,000.
How many girls came in? How many women came in?
I don't know. You want to maybe do the math on
I do.
on the
Well,
32?
no, there is something
That's
different
a lot of people.
about a man
Yeah.
committing crimes and a man having a sick puppy sort of sense of humor. People have these people
No, but
in
you
their
have
lives.
you have to align it with everything
Right.
that happened before and now after, but certainly before.
That's true. I mean, 2006 had happened. This is 10 years after that.
Jackson, what's the poll?
92-8. Yes.
92% say
Yes.
that if they knew and did nothing, they're culpable.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
It was a very emotional day in Glendale, Arizona, where the memorial for Charlie Kirk was held, and a very, how would I say, a conflicting picture drawn by Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, and President Trump, who was also there and spoke, but they delivered completely different messages.
They did indeed. So Erica talked about her husband practicing forgiveness, which is rooted in her faith.
Right.
And that, in probably the most emotional moment, she told Charlie Kirk's killer that she forgives him. And that was a big moment during this memorial service.
And it really was a moment where the crowd was with her because she was so emotional also, and because this whole ceremony was really rooted in Christianity, and Charlie, they talked a lot about the Kirk family's love for Christianity. So
Then Donald Trump got out.
and then the president gets up there.
And you got to listen to this first, and then we'll talk about it.
He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
Well, that's, I think, bad enough. But you have to then put that in a bigger context, which is something that was going on over the weekend, where Donald Trump was frustrated with Pam Bondi and some U.S. attorneys because they wouldn't prosecute some of his opponents, including Letitia James.
So frustrated that he posted on Truth Social this basically letter to Pam Bondi saying, get this done, prosecute Letitia James, prosecute Senator Schiff. I want them prosecuted.
And in the case of Letitia James, the U.S. attorney, who I believe now has resigned, said that we just don't have enough evidence to prosecute her. Donald Trump is like, I don't care.
I don't want to hear
Get another U.S. attorney. Who does that? It's like there is a.
I'm sure, by the way, I'm sure that it's probably been done by other presidents in back rooms but to blatantly just say it out loud when on the heels of also saying at this memorial, I hate my enemies. It's
unbelievable to me. And look,
it's another level. It's like we reach another level of, this is not what we used to say. Well, that's not presidential. It's beyond that. Like, it's just not. I don't know.
Before we started our show today, I was talking to people in the live stream, and I was telling them, I've known Donald Trump for 25 years, and he is an authentic person. What he talks about now and the way he talks about it is the way he talked a quarter century ago. I'll give him this. He's an authentic person, that this is the way he feels.
It is the way he feels. I just felt like it was not the proper setting, especially after that emotional moment with Erica.
It was a moment of levity. We said it in a joke.
Funny.
Absolutely. Listen to his tone. Are you guys? Come on.
If
you
it's
guys would trip over yourself
levity,
so bad to.
Why did he post that and order
the tone
Pam
of it was
Bondi
just so.
to
That
take
was
action?
before. I'm not talking about Pam
No,
Bondi. I'm
but
talking about
what I'm saying
at
is
the Kirk Memorial.
it aligns.
That was a moment of levity. Yes. Does he hate his opponents? Yeah, I believe it was a truthful statement, but it was a moment of levity. Look, they've tried to kill the guy on 2 occasions. They came within a millimeter of blowing his head off. Yeah, he doesn't like his opponents who have tried to put him in prison for the rest of his life. Have
Mike,
called him the devil, Hitler, all that stuff. Does he dislike those people?
But we all know that. But I guess we all know that.
Why is it always on him to be the bigger person? I watched,
at some point.
Well, I watched last week where.
Can we just stop there?
That might have just been it.
Kind of says it all.
Right. Yeah.
If you're expecting him to be the bigger
Why?
person.
Yeah, don't. Let go of it. It's not happening. He is who he is. He is authentically himself, like Harvey just said.
Hi, I'm Casey from Kentucky. I'm praying for a country in this tragic matter. This is a very controversial issue, and I agree with you guys in a sense that these were some unnecessary comments made by Trump. I do think that this was a little inflammatory, and he almost forgot where he was. But at the same time, when you talk about whether he was persecuted or not, I mean, the Biden DOJ charged this guy 4 separate times. On the other hand, with Erica Kirk, I do agree that she should have a Christian sentiment and forgive the killer. Although if that's even the killer to actually begin with, I think there's another conversation to be had there. But again, I think this is something that us as Americans have to come together. This should not be a partisan issue. And again, I think this is going to divide a lot of people. But at the same time, as Christians, as Americans, we have to come together.
And by the way, I wanted to say one thing that you said. I agree with you that there were cases against Donald Trump that to me were just retribution against him that were BS. I don't feel that way about the January 6th one, which never went to trial. The other ones, I kind of agree with you on.
Coming up.
Welcome back, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes.
To ABC. He will be back in his late night slot on Tuesday night. And
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. And ABC made a very interesting statement about why he's coming back and why they suspended him in the first place.
Watch this very, very carefully.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live, and welcome back, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes.
To ABC. He will be back in his late night slot on Tuesday night. And
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. And ABC made a very interesting statement about why he's coming back and why they suspended him in the first place.
Listen to this or watch this very, very carefully as Charles reads it.
Okay. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday.
What, pray tell, would the thoughtful conversations be?
Thoughtful conversations.
Such as, don't piss off Trump.
Right. We
That
got a
way.
business to run here.
Now, we should.
And here's your contract, by the way.
We should say, Brandon Carr, the FCC chairman, who said we can do this the easy way or the hard way. He came out today and said, no, the FCC had exerted no pressure that they did this because of low ratings. Well, if it were low ratings, they wouldn't be bringing him back.
Right.
Obviously, they did it because of the pressure.
Of course they did. And it's...
And the statement,
especially when Brandon Carr went on the air and said that out loud. So how can you say you weren't exerting pressure?
This is so
when
obvious.
you say
it's the exact opposite of what you guys are saying. It's proof that the FCC storyline this entire time was nonsense. He would not be back 2 shows later if the
Because
FCC
they
had
couldn't-
exerted pressure.
they couldn't take the heat,
because
Babcock.
Harvey, no, it's not true.
ABC couldn't take the heat.
He told the executives at ABC he was going to double down on those stupid-ass comments that he made, and they said, no, we're not going to have it because you're killing our business.
The comment was dumb, but it wasn't.
It was dumb and incorrect.
But wait a minute. But it wasn't a comment against Charlie Kirk. It was a comment about MAGA.
Absolutely. It was not about Charlie Kirk.
But
he's made comments
which was
about MAGA
wrong.
Yeah.
all along.
But come on, man. And the FCC chairman comes out, and now Disney says, "Oh no, we've had thoughtful conversations, and it was because of insensitive comments, not the FCC." The FCC guy said it's because of low
It just makes
ratings.
no
Right,
sense
and the
then.
FCC,
This is ridiculous.
Right, because then the FCC guy comes out and backpedals,
Totally.
knowing that
You
ABC
guys
is going
are
to come
just-
out and make their statement.
Because Republicans have come out and skewered him for saying it, and they couldn't take the heat, and Disney couldn't take the heat because of what they did. It's so obvious
it is
here.
He's got a
incredibly
terribly
obvious that
rated
this was
show.
about.
He's not funny.
This is-
it's a bottom
Guys,
line.
Okay,
Guys.
you're just repeating the president's
It's a
speech from.
okay. It's one of those things where it's yes or no. It's a fact. How many people watch his show? Nobody. It's
Well,
a
then
crap-
why did they bring it back? Why are they bringing it
that
back?
You have to ask ABC, but it has nothing to
Well,
do
no,
with the
don't
government.
ask. And ABC's saying what they're doing. What?
I mean, maybe it's because their stock's
Have they
getting
told
killed.
have they told Jimmy Kimmel, you got to stay between certain lanes here?
Yes, there was definitely a
Oh, I'm
conversation
sure.
about that.
Absolutely.
And
I
I
mean,
wonder what the president's.
thoughtful
I wonder what the
conversations.
president's reaction is going to be to Jimmy's return.
God knows, but in a way, he won this. I mean, he won this.
I mean, he was dancing on his grave like the show was not coming back, and now it is.
I want to hear what the thoughtful conversations were.
Yeah. Well, Tom Brady still making headlines on Sundays, even though he is not on the field. This time, it's a little commentary he made at the end of the Bears-Cowboys game.
It wasn't about bears, it was about dogs.
It wasn't about the Cowboys either.
So-
Although it was actually about one of the Cowboys receivers. So you're going to see this clip here. George Pickens dropped the ball, and so he's on the sidelines, and he's upset.
That's what I was going to say.
And here's what Tom said.
Pick's not happy. Yeah, those helmets can be. It's like the dog at home.
Timeout on the field.
Wow. Kick the dog, throw the helmet.
So he slammed his
Kick
helmet
the
on the
dog,
ground.
throw the
and
helmet.
he used the metaphor that you're kicking the dog, which is throwing the helmet down. That's the metaphor, rather than dealing with what's really bugging you. The helmet was kind of the unintended victim of this, and he talked about kind of kicking the dog.
But as you
People
expect,
went
dog
nuts online.
lovers, animal lovers, didn't warm to that metaphor.
So much so we actually reached out to PETA today to see if they had a comment on it. Of course,
And they did.
Let me guess, they said
And
no
they
comment.
did,
of course, they
didn't
did have a comment. They actually took it lightly on Brady, in my opinion. They said PETA knows Tom Brady to be kind to animals, so we were as confused as everyone else by his comment about kicking the dog at home. PETA encourages Brady to remember that millions of people listen to him, that the language we use can encourage violence or kindness towards animals, and that we should never normalize taking our frustration out on a beloved companion. Ooh. They also included a bunch of of these idioms we use, these phrases.
You have a dog in the fight?
Yeah, and here, let me pull up some for you.
Beating a dead horse?
Yes, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. It's or kill two birds with one stone, feed two birds with one scone.
No,
be the guinea pig.
That's the option.
That's their alternative.
Feed two birds
beat a
with
dead
one
horse.
scone.
Feed a fed horse.
Feed a head horse?
Feed a fed horse.
Well, man, that's just a fat horse.
Feed a fed horse.
That's just a fat horse.
Bring home the bacon. Bring home the bagel. So they're trying to get Tom to use different phrases to be more kind.
Okay, this is like.
I love PETA, but they always take it too far. I mean,
well, listen, actually, they had a much more lighthearted response than I would expect from PETA, and a very measured response. But the people who are online going like, oh my God, Tom Brady's kicking his dog, that's
it's
ridiculous and unfair. It is a phrase that people use. It's not a big deal. No one watched that and thought, oh, you know what? Where's my dog? I should go kick my dog. No one thought that. No reasonable person.
Except 12 people online.
Hey, my name is Nick from Knoxville, and yeah, people are upset about these Tom Brady comments, but they're forgetting one thing. That is Tom Brady. 7 Super Bowls. If he wants to come kick my dog, he can.
No,
he gets
no,
my benefit
no,
of
do
the
not
doubt
say
and overage
that. Do
things.
not say
That's
that.
Tom
That's
Brady.
not
That's
what
my
you
goat.
want. Don't say. Do you know?
Oh, now you want a goat kicking a dog? Oh my
Do you know
gosh,
what?
that's animal on animal.
We're
violence.
going to give PETA your email address.
Yeah, I'll feed two birds with one scone if they'll come my way.
Coming up.
One of the other comments that President Trump made during the Charlie Kirk memorial was the announcement that the administration had found the answer to autism, saying that this has something to do with
Tylenol.
acetaminophen, the main ingredient in Tylenol.
And that pregnant women who take it put their unborn child at much greater risk for autism.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. One of the other comments that President Trump made during the Charlie Kirk memorial that, again, seemed out of place, but certainly made a lot of headlines, was the announcement that the administration had found the answer, as he put it, to autism. As we're speaking now, that announcement has not happened yet, but there are many reports quoting people in the administration saying that this has something to do with
Tylenol.
Acetaminophen, the main ingredient in Tylenol.
And that pregnant women who take it put their unborn child at much greater risk for autism. That seems to be the working theory that is going to be coming out.
Right, and possibly also talking about treatments. But linking these two things has been controversial in the medical world because not everybody agrees with this. And obviously this is an issue that every family wants to know about. Certainly if you are going to be starting a family, this is really important stuff. So joining us right now to talk about this is Dr. Lucky Seekon. She is a board-certified reproductive endocrinologist and infertility specialist. Dr. Seekon, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you for having me.
So, Doctor, why don't we start with broad strokes here? The administration appears to be coming out saying Tylenol is linked to autism when it comes to pregnant women who take the drug. What say you?
So the conversation surrounding Tylenol and pregnancy and autism is not a new one. And where this first thought came from was looking at large-scale studies where they asked women to fill out questionnaires about the exposures that they experienced during their pregnancy and tried to relate it to the outcome of their child and their health. And these are called associations. These aren't studies that are showing a causal link. In fact, the best designed study that came out a year ago, it involved over 2 million children, and they found initially this very weak association, but then they drilled a little deeper and actually looked at sibling pairs, and they compared within the same household siblings where the mom had reported using Tylenol when the child was in utero versus not, and that difference then dissipated, it went away. And what they concluded was this is likely explained by genetic influences in the environment of the household, maternal health, but it certainly, there is no new data that has demonstrated a causal link. There is no updated science to base any of these statements on. And as an OBGYN that treats many women in the first trimester, it is actually imperative to treat fever stemming from infection. We know that fever is an independent risk factor in the first trimester for certain birth defects involving the heart, the facial features, as well as neurodevelopmental outcomes, things like autism.
So, doctor, is it possible that whatever it is that pregnant women were taking the Tylenol for, that, as you just mentioned, a fever, scarlet fever, something like that, that could be what's causing?
Yes. When it comes to biology and science, I mean, everything is so multifactorial, right? So it is a very oversimplified view to draw a link between I took Tylenol when I was pregnant and now my child has XYZ. There are so many other things that can play a role. And the point is that the data that has in the past shown an association does not prove cause and effect. And that's really the main takeaway here. And we, at this time, don't have a safer way of treating fevers in pregnancy. And all of the major associations, like the American College of OBGYNs, for example, continue to stand by the statement that Tylenol is safe when used appropriately. It's safe and effective, and it's really important to take women's pain seriously and to treat fevers appropriately when people are pregnant.
So what a lot of people think these days, and I think it's because of COVID, in large part, is that science is a moving target to some extent. And the more you look at things, sometimes the conclusion changes. And I think some people are thinking, well, now they're saying there's no link, but there's another study that shows there is. So why isn't it in 3 years people are going to say, oh, we found the link after all? And I think that's one of the reasons people are skeptical.
Yeah, I think, this is why we have to trust the experts, people that have spent years learning how to interpret scientific data. Because when you take things at face value, it's very easy to ignore all of the other factors that can give rise to the outcome that's being studied.
So for you have patients that come in who are pregnant and will have heard this news. I would imagine that this could potentially cause a bit of a panic among pregnant women.
There is no new information. And so I think it's important, and it's hard to do this, but I think it's important for us to ignore the news cycle or the headlines unless it's rooted in some actual evidence, because that's really what we need to be looking to as we make these types of recommendations that are so important, not only impacting the health of pregnant women, but their future children.
I'm thinking just, a woman who is, 9 weeks, 10 weeks pregnant and develops a fever, and they come to see you and they say, well, I read this, and you say to them, if you don't take Tylenol, you're putting your baby in jeopardy of a birth defect, a serious one. And then they're thinking, but they're telling me if I do, I'm putting my baby at risk of autism. And it must be horrific for these pregnant women to come in and have to make that decision.
No, of course. And I don't really think that is the decision. I think it's so important to look beyond the headlines. And I'm so grateful that you're having me, an expert, on to talk about this, because you can imagine from our perspective, we're just wondering, where is the new data to back any of these statements up? And it's a really terrible thing in public health when there's any sort of, miscommunication or mixed messaging, because, it leaves patients, ultimately they're the vulnerable ones that are left with really difficult decisions and a lot of confusion.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, doctor, we really appreciate you being here to help us break this down. Want to let people know you've written a new book. It is called The Lucky Egg: Understanding Your Fertility and How to Get Pregnant Now. Is it out now, or is it coming out coming in January?
Coming in January, but you can pre-order it now. And the whole thing is really providing an evidence-based view of everything you should know about your fertility.
Okay. We really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up.
2 weeks now since the body of Celeste Rivas was found in the Tesla belonging to David, the singer. There was a TikTok that had gone up that David had posted last year. But earlier this year, in February, somebody left a comment on his post. Look at the comment.
A lot of people raised eyebrows about that.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. It has been, this is unbelievable, but it's 2 weeks now since the body of Celeste Rivas was found in the Tesla belonging to David, the singer. And the investigation continues into this. But there have been a couple of things that have happened very interestingly over the weekend. First of all,
there was a memorial for her.
A memorial for Celeste, who, remember, was the 15-year-old victim. Her body was chopped up, and that's what was found in a bag inside the Tesla.
A Tesla owned by singer David.
Right.
And we also told you, by the way, that the house David was staying at was searched last week, and that's near where the Tesla was parked. And cops were in that house spraying luminol all over the place looking for blood evidence, which is not hard to connect the dots. I think they were trying to figure out
whether or not she was killed there in that house.
And then put in the...
Since she was found in David's car, was she killed in David's house?
That's right.
No arrests, no naming of a suspect yet. But at that vigil, a lot of people very upset and really demanding that there's justice here, that they find whoever killed Celeste.
Now, we should say, this should not be a repeat of Brian Kohberger, where everybody said, oh, the police aren't doing anything because they haven't released information, when police, in fact, were hot in the trail of Brian Kohberger. Here, it's very clear, even though the police are not talking, and believe us, they are not talking, they are all over this case.
Right. And there's something else that happened that's very interesting. So there was a TikTok that had gone up that David had posted last year. But earlier this year, in February, somebody left a comment on his post. Look at the comment. Very interesting. This is in February that someone, a user on TikTok, posted, waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with a 13-year-old girl.
So remember, Celeste was 13, it appears, when she first met David. He was 18, I believe, at the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people raised eyebrows about that. He didn't keep whatever the relationship was with Celeste secret.
No, because I mean, this is obviously a comment that's still up on his TikTok now, which is why we're able to see it. But we've been getting all sorts of tips about this Discord group where people had been, their screenshots that we haven't been able to verify, but that people had been commenting, bringing up Celeste's name, bringing up the fact that she was younger. And I mean, there was that video of them doing the live thing.
So, I mean, look at the video. You see David with Celeste. You know that she was found in his Tesla. You know police have searched his home, the home he was staying in. And, and then these weird things about romantic homicide, which was his big song.
The bloody merch, which might just be a coincidence, but...
So, look, we don't know. And again, the police, like you said, they have not named a person of interest. They have not named a suspect, but...
It's very clear they are working a lot of different leads on this.
They're working leads on it, but that doesn't mean they don't have a suspect.
Right.
I mean, they just don't declare it.
Well, they have to build a case, right?
Well, no, they may have a suspect.
They
may be way far ahead of what we know.
Right.
But they're not disclosing it. So, and I'm not saying David is the suspect, but to get a search warrant, which they got last week.
For the house he was living in.
For the house he's living in, you have to show probable cause that a crime was committed. The affidavit that the officer writes to get the search warrant, you would really want to see, because it's going to lay out the evidence they have that caused the police to want to search that house for blood evidence. And the question is, who did they talk about in that affidavit?
Karina, Los Angeles. I mean, I agree with everything you guys are saying, right? Like, they're not naming a suspect, but I think it's pretty clear whether it was himself or someone on his team, there was involvement there. He did have knowledge of it. He clearly had some sort of relationship with her. So a lot of new details come out every day. People are really digging and finding new information, but I think it's pretty clear, he was aware of it, whether he did it or not, or someone on his team.
Well, I will say, the one thing that I do not understand is they're saying the body was severely decomposed. So this may have been a month before that she was killed.
Right.
What's going on with the body, and how does it just end up in a Tesla in an abandoned car?
That's not... Yeah, I mean, look, we don't know who put it there, but that's not...
It's just odd to me. I'm so impressed with Harry Styles.
Harry Styles
I am so impressed with
has
him.
a hidden talent I didn't know about. I knew that he did some running. I didn't realize he did this level of running. He ran in a marathon this weekend. In Berlin, and ran under 3 hours. If you're an amateur, you're aiming for 4 hours. Like, you want to be at 4, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But sub 3 is...
It's so impressive. And he ran under an alias. He didn't want people to know he was Harry Styles.
Oh, I love the alias.
Yes, and it was a play on the co-CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos. He went by Stead Sarandos. And I don't know what's necessarily that means. Maybe there's something down the line with Harry and Netflix. Maybe he's going to put out a special.
I never even thought of
it's
that.
It's a very obscure celebrity or notable figure's name to be using.
But good on him. And I don't know when he trains. I mean, you have to train
to get
for this.
To that level. And I know that
we didn't even know he ran marathons.
This particular marathon is known as the fastest one in the world. Like, the course, I'm guessing, is very flat. But he shaved out what he ran in Tokyo.
Yeah,
and he shaved like How much time?
A solid chunk of time. But he did say a few years ago, he meditates, he does Pilates, and he runs. That's his big thing.
I'm Ty Wilson in Denver, Colorado, and it's really exciting to see Harry Styles out and about doing anything because there's all those rumors about the tour coming up possibly in 2026 or 2027, and it looks like he's training to give us something really big.
Coming up.
U.S. track and field star Sha'Carri Richardson doing a new campaign with Nike and Skims. Where the double standard comes in is she was recently accused of domestic violence.
Be right back.
Welcome back to Double Standards. That's how a lot of people see what we're about to show you. U.S. track and field star Sha'Carri Richardson doing a new campaign with Nike and Skims. Nike Skims is the partnership between Kim Kardashian's company and Nike, and Sha'Carri is one of their spokespeople. And she's in this new ad campaign. Where the double standard comes in is she was recently we saw the video of domestic violence, striking her boyfriend while they were in the airport.
Right.
And she got some backlash for it and she apologized, but here she is now. How long? That was, what, a month? 2 months ago?
The arrest was in July.
Was in July.
Yeah, so I mean, the campaign's getting mixed reaction for two things. One, she's one of the greatest sprinters, one of the best track and field athletes right now. She actually just won the 4x100 the other day in Tokyo. And then there's two, the domestic violence arrests. And with Nike, I mean, they have a history of canceling athletes they've worked with because of domestic violence. You got Ray Rice, even Michael Vick with the dog fighting. So people are wondering how come she's
the double standard is Nike. When it was a man who was involved in the accused or actually committing the domestic violence, they would say, that's it, we're done. But because
you think
this case,
they gave
it's
her
a woman.
Well, I will say that there is a difference between Ray Rice and what Sha'Carri Richardson did.
Right, of course.
What Sha'Carri did is not at all what Ray Rice did.
That's right.
But it still is a domestic violence case.
But it's not one size. I hate to use a Skims metaphor, but it's not one size fits all. It's just not.
True.
It's not.
But
and
you can
her
say that anytime
boyfriend,
that you bring up double standards.
and her
right?
boyfriend did defend her, and she apologized and everything like that. But still,
It's just, and I'm sure all of that helped. And
right,
that's
that
probably,
helped. But people are wondering why she's not getting the same
You would not call
treatment.
that brutalizing. Ray Rice, undoubtedly.
Because it's a woman striking a man.
Tiffany, Atlanta, Georgia. Sha'Carri Richardson, she's been through a lot in the public eye, and no one's perfect, and she's one of the best athletes out there. So I'm glad to see her, doing this campaign. Hopefully she keeps going and she keeps being positive.
We had the best time over the weekend with the TMZ After Dark Tour, where we take people on Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard and Santa Monica Boulevard. We have a DJ on the bus. We have guest hosts, big celebrities. They stop at bars and you get free shots, and it's so fun.
That would be fun enough if you're just getting the shots.
We have a sponsor for this past weekend, Crumble, which is celebrating its 8th birthday. And people got cookies along the way. They got 3 different sets of cookies. It was so fun. By the way, these cookies, they make them fresh every week. They change the menu.
And in fact, Crumble now has more than 1,100 locations,
stores.
And they have like this rotating menus, a weekly menu. So
this tour is so fun. It is the best party in Hollywood. And this Sunday, we're starting the TMZ brunch bus in West Hollywood. And we stop at Lisa Vanderpump's restaurant. We stop at other restaurants. So you get a mimosa here, a crepe here. It is just awesome. So what are we doing only charging $69 for this? You can go to tmztour.com.
Get the bargain while you still can.
I'm telling you.
Coming up.
Well, if there was any question, and there was some question, as to whether or not Zac Efron and Nina Dobrev were actually, hooking up, or were they just on this yacht with friends?
Oh, you mean 2 really hot people on the yacht as the only
hot
single
people can just be friends.
Yeah.
Be right back.
Well, if there was any question, and there was some question, as to whether or not Zac Efron and Nina Dobrev were actually, hooking up, or were they just on this yacht with friends?
Oh, you mean two really hot
As
people on a
friends.
yacht as the only
Hot
single
people can just be friends.
Yeah, really?
But probably not in this case.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you guys, these photos that came out of them over the weekend, they are so hooking up. So, like you guys mentioned, they've been on this yacht. They're with like Chase Crawford, Miles Teller, like a bunch of couples. Nina is recently single. Her and Shaun White broke up. Zach, single. And in these photos, they're like smiling together. At one point, she's like on her phone, and it looks like he's like engaged in whatever she's
Is it
looking at her phone.
100% based on the?
I
That's
think
a very
so.
close. They're standing very, very close to each other.
They've known each other for years, which girls love guys that they have history with. So it's like easy and
Really?
comfortable. Yes, totally.
That's the thing, huh?
Charles is
What? Are you going back to your Rolodex? Your high school girlfriend?
That's exactly what he's doing. Let me think.
City in Kansas City, and you know, Nina Dobrev ends her engagement with Shaun White, and she ends up on a yacht in Italy with Zach. Like, it's amazing. So
Where did you get a pumpkin this early?
I am all about it. I'll tell you what.
And look at the
my
skeleton,
house is
too.
decked out, but
Oh my
you know,
God.
Nina and Zach, it's not heartbreak. It is a storyline upgrade for her. I'm so excited. Two beautiful looking people. Just what would be better?
Okay, well, let us think. We'll get back to you. Okay, every weekend we put polls up on the website. We want to find out how you feel about, all the things that happened last week, which was a lot.
Oh, nothing happened.
And here are the results.
Democracy is dead. Well, that was going in hot.
Boom.
100% DOA or ridiculous and alarmist.
How about that?
That is interesting.
Okay, next. ABC yanking Kimmel, network cave to Trump, or legit business decision? It's going to be the same vote.
It has to be. Even
Even
heavier.
bigger. Even bigger.
All right. Bigger threat to free speech. The Dems or the Republicans?
This will be interesting.
Ooh, I don't know.
I think they're going to say Republicans.
This will be close.
Yeah. Again, this is lining up.
It sometimes feels like there's only one group of people voting each weekend, but it's different groups each weekend.
I know, but it's roughly the same.
Better musical act at Swift-Kelsey wedding. Usher or Ed Sheeran?
I think they're both in contention. See, I thought they would have said Usher.
No, because we talked about Usher has connections to Scooter.
Right.
Oh, so
God,
therefore,
really? Oh my God. Looking forward to the holidays. Best time of year or worst time of year?
Based on the pumpkin,
it's
that
going
was
to be
over.
50-50.
Best time of
But
year.
a lot of people say it's the worst.
Harvey, how many times did you vote?
4.
Coming up.
Drake celebrating Oktoberfest. Went over to Germany with a bunch of his buddies, but Drake is the only one who kept it authentic. He kept it real lederhosen.
Be right back.
All right, well, since we've totally given summer the full kiss off, we've had everyone talking about, we had pumpkins, we had skeletons.
It's over.
It's over, and this is another sign of that. Drake celebrating Oktoberfest. Went over to Germany with a bunch of his buddies, but Drake is the only one who kept it authentic.
Look at his getup.
He kept it real lederhosen.
Have you ever been to that, by the way?
To Oktoberfest?
Yeah, I've never been to Oktoberfest, but have you ever been to one of those, the big, like, communal beer halls?
I have been
there?
to one, yes.
They're actually kind of cool, the beer gardens.
Yeah, that's fun. I was more concerned you were going to ask me if I ever worn lederhosen.
Have you?
Are we out of time? Are we out of time? No, I have not worn lederhosen.
What, the question scares you?
No,
Uncomfortable?
there's a lederhosen answer, but it was not Oktoberfest related, and I don't want to get into it. So, we'll see you tomorrow.